Well, the market up about 0.32% in today's trading session. Where's the momentum coming from today?
Well, first of all, the market is really rallying behind the fact that there's still some upside potential for the market, despite the fact that we are up almost 30% year to date. So I think when you look at the market, there are still a couple of gains, and I think that's where the market is really focusing going forward. So I guess that's the real reason where the momentum is coming from, coming in and picking some of the stocks that have not really benefited from the rally this year.
Looking at a stock like Williamson's tea, up 10% in today's trading session. Any fundamental move in that stock?
Well, first of all, I have to mention that tea farms have actually been one of the most active stocks for the last 1.5 months, and simply because the market is now realizing the tea farms are actually going to do well for the full year, simply because when you look at the world tea prices, they're up about 16% per kilogram right now in dollar terms, trading at around $3. So I think that's what's really feeding into the momentum behind these stocks. Yeah.
And looking at a stock like Scan Group, we had news out that Scan Group are losing some market share. We saw its market share falling back by 10%, really on the back of other smaller players coming to the party. What is your investment case for this company, and what are you doing with the stock right now?
First of all, we think the stock is still on a buy according to our view, and we still think that the company is a growth stock. And recently, we see so it's still expanding, and the reason busy making acquisitions in the western side of the continent. And I think going forward, what the market is looking at is what that pertains on its profitability in the next 2 or 3 years. But however, as you mentioned, it's true that it's been losing its market share locally, but well, when you look at it from an overall point of view, we think the kind of clients that it has on its books, they are big clients that in terms of profitability, we don't think that it's going to have any negative impact. As you saw the last 6 months when it released its half-year results, its revenues are up almost 82% to about $100 million. So I think, despite the market share slide, we still think that its profitability is still intact, and because of that and a few more other factors, we still recommend it as a buy.
So you're still quite positive on a Scan Group. What about a stock like Housing Finance? They've recently opened up a branch in Mombasa, and we know that property values in that town rose about 20% last year. What does this all mean for the mortgage firm going forward? Well,
first of all, we recognize, first of all, they have about $60 million in the bank right now, because after the bond issue that they just had, and the actually fundraising. So going forward, the country still we're still doing about 15,000 mortgage account holders. So I think they see a lot of growth in that sector in terms of growing the loan book and getting more mortgage accounts on its books. So I think it's going to use, actually one of the plans is to use that money to grow its loan book. And second of all is the fact that having opened a branch in Mombasa is actually informed by a survey that was done last year by Knight Frank that showed that towns actually along the coastline, most specifically Kenyan coastline, were up about 20%. The average price is about 20%, and that was higher than other places like Miami and Monaco. So I think there's a lot of demand on that side of the country. And I think this is what's really partly informing the decision why they need to go there and tap on some of that demand.
Well, you touched on the market a little earlier, that it's up about 29% year to date. But what do you make of the violence and bomb attacks in the city in the recent past? Could we see perhaps the bull run that we have seen on the market being halted because of all of this?
Well, yeah, it's true. We've had quite a bit of scare in terms of bomb attacks in the city and all. But when I look at the market, as we enter the week, we haven't seen any kind of reflection based on those happenings. And I think what the market is saying is that the market is is pretty confident. Is confident that it's going to remain resilient despite of all these factors. And here we're talking about even elections and other things that come along with it. So I think it's going to be interesting. I think to watch on going forward. But so far, we think the market is quite confident on partly what the government is doing. We've been kind of, the market is really assured that the market is going to deal with some of these things quite hard.